Thank you very much, Michael, for having me. Let me begin by quoting from Victor Views now when he started by elucidating all the C's. It's quite interesting indeed because this is the situation that we are in today. Some people call it post-normal time. It is actually is dictated by three C's. You have seven or eight C's just now. Let me add to it to the C's, Victor. That is the first C is complexities, chaos, and contradiction. All these three actually happen simultaneously. It is very difficult for us to, disentangle each and one of them, and or you want to separate from one issue to another. That's also remind me of the latest book by Professor Stiglitz, The Road to Freedom. He also exposed the problem that we are facing today, among others, due to the unfettered market that created many problems, such as inequalities, climate crisis, and to a certain extent, is the issues of opioid crisis. This is not the American problem, but I think it crossed over the world, even to certain countries, like the emerging countries, also having this problem. So the question now is how we manage it. Of course, we have so many issues here facing not only my country, but also ASEAN for that matter. Yes, you rightly put it just now. ASEAN is one of the most dynamic region in the world today, amidst all kind of challenges, particularly from the rivalry of the two powers. As much as we do not want to allow this to happen in that region, however, we have to manage it. How we can temper, reconcile on the immediate needs of the nation and the ASEAN for that matter, and also on the international collaborations that we are fostering, though, especially in the area of trade. And the other area that we need to embark on, how resilient we are in moderating this tension, but possible tension. Now, being someone who's involved in the international relation, I was a foreign minister before, we also face one of the contestation of ideas among the superpowers and the increased interest of certain powers, not only from America or from China, but also from other regions. EU, for example, they have come out also with their own outlook, the strategic outlook for South China Sea. Then, and another issue that is very concerned is on the change of neologism, the term that used to describe our part of the world from Asia Pacific to Indo-Pacific. That carries a lot of meanings and repercussions to a certain extent. That shows what? It shows the how term, the shift from from Asia Pacific to Indo Pacific signifies the new tensions emerging in that part of the world. Previously, we are very familiar with the use with the term Asia Pacific. It's a pretty much economics framework, how countries can work together, how that also includes China, how China be part of the partners of this entire collaborations. But now you are actually moving to a new framework that is very much concerned about the security, how to contain the China influence. Those are some of the issues we are facing today. So that poses quite a concern to all the ASEAN members, particularly Malaysia, because our policy is very clear. We cannot take these the binary prisms, that is to shift our either you choose this or you be with us or you're against us. So what we are trying to do now is we have to navigate the whole situations nicely. That this both are actually our trading partners, very active trading partners. The US, for example, remains our largest trading partners, not only in Malaysia, but also in ASEAN. China, for that matter, of course, they are of course, very significant trading partners to Malaysia as well as to other countries in Southeast Asia. So what we have to do now is to how we can strengthen ASEAN as a formidable regional power to mediate or between the two superpowers, and how we can project a new area which is very much aligned with our policy, that is to maintain ASEAN as a zone of peace, freedom, and neutrality. So we hope that other powers and our other countries, those who are interested to come to this part of the world, must bear in mind that our policies is rather simple, that we are trying to be friend with all members countries, whoever come to us, because we are the trading nation for that. So therefore, we are hoping that we would not allow any form of what they call today the Thucydides traps, by aligning yourself to one power at the expense of another country. So what we have been working now is trying to create the mutual accommodation for both parties, and also for the European, because the European continent, the EU in particular, has come up with their strategic outlook for Southeast Asia and for South China Sea. So we hope with that framework of sustaining security and prosperity, they will bring all parties together to maintain peace and prosperity in that part of the world. So having said that, let me bring your attention to the importance of higher education, where I'm now as a higher education minister in Malaysia. That's also come in line with our national policy to allow our reform in higher education, because we, as you know, the country now is facing a tremendous challenge in terms of facilitating the need for that the talent, the right talent. That's as a result of our active trade, exchange with many countries in the world, and then with the incoming FDI as a result of this crisis between China, because the other side of the crisis, that's also brings some benefit to us, because some countries they are now trying to decouple, to de-risk their investment. So we are now actually inviting these people, and Malaysia actually is rightly located in Southeast Asia, especially in the area of E&E, which is very important because we are in that area now. Of course, we have developed this semiconductors industry for the past 50 years. We are contouring this microchip industry for quite some numbers of years. And many countries, investors, FDIs now start coming into Malaysia in a big way. So therefore, whenever we talk about trade, we must not forget on the needs for us to relate to other whole ecosystem. One of the important ecosystem is, of course, education. Therefore, what we are doing now in our country is trying to work out on our new blueprint. We have the national blueprint for the next 10 years on the needs to reform our higher education from 2026 to 2035. And this is also, as I said just now, is in line with our national policy and economic and advancement, as well as the trade advancement. So in that, we really need to integrate the practices between university and industry. And for example, I can share with you some of the leading companies, multinational companies such as Intel, Infineon, Texas Instrument, and Western Digital. They are there in big way now, and many of them, due to the reshoring and trade diversions, they are coming to Malaysia, and they see Malaysia as great potentials in the area of semiconductors and E&E in the area. So I think another area in higher education, we are trying to build this Malaysian digital economy. Of course, in order to do that, we have to provide enough necessary preparations for the universities to come up with this new vision for the country. And we are also facing the challenge. It's not a problem, actually. The talents and skill. How can we develop our talent and skill to meet the demands of high techs in the country? So we are working closely with different countries as well, such as my present today. The visit to Switzerland is part of my engagement with some of the universities, some of the colleges, which area that you are actually quite advanced in. So we are looking into this, and we are also working closely, as you rightly mentioned, some of the panels mentioned just now, on the need for us to have the interdisciplinary way approach approach in education, because you cannot let matters concerning trade must be confined within the area of trade alone, of the form of negotiation. But you need all the multidisciplinary approach, the interdisciplinary area. This is the one of the thing that we are now developing, and we hope we'll be able to build up a new way forward. It's not only meeting the demand for the local need, but also for the international need. So I would like to give that scenario, because it's very important for us to broaden out our perspective in dealing with the trade matters. So let me stop there for a time being. By the way, thank you. It's just quite interesting. Let me address that first. The second question, Tress. I think it is very difficult for, if you ask us to decouple our relations. It's no doubt there is an element of traceability or whatever you do in the in the trade area. But the most important thing is the role of the country itself to core for negotiation. You must continue. You cannot stop at any point. I want to cite the example of Malaysia. We have to be good to both parties, that is America as well as the to China, because it is very much to do with our industries. We have to import the intermediate product from China, and the process actually is being done in Malaysia for the final product to be exported to America. If we were to take our stand, for example, despite all this contestation of ideas about the Indo-Pacific, how are you going to align yourself whether to America or to China? Or I think more to come after this. Whether you want to align yourself to Europe or what, or any more powers that's coming in. So the most important thing that you have to be frank with all parties. But this is why you need to have your political will to do that. Our Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has been going around, of course, despite being criticized recently, even a few days back, he was in Russia. But of course, it creates some concern of certain parties of his presence in Russia. But it doesn't mean that we condones to what's happening in the Ukraine war. However, we need to diversify our friends, and maintaining it, of course, is quite challenging. So what we're doing now as the ASEAN platform. Malaysia alone cannot do it. We have to come together with all countries, and that is the ASEAN consensus, for your information. ASEAN consensus, we have built it, that everybody must work together, all parties, be friendly with all. So that's to answer your question. With regard to Professor Thomas' question, you raised quite fundamentals issues as far as the trade is concerned, and additions to all the technical issues we are facing in trade. But we are also facing some ideological contestation. And here, I think, let me briefly answer to your question on how to do it. I agree with you. 100% agree with you that we need to have a new principles. We have to reconceptualize our narrative. But one important point that I would like to urge all parties that we need to adapt this. When you talk about the dialogue with your partners, we must have the dialogue of the equal. You cannot simply impose that we are from this group of certain group of G or whatever group G, that or South or whatever, and then you impose it to certain countries, to the different countries that on your own term. I think if we can do that, you're going to do away with all these preconditions. I think we'll be able to create a new way forward. That's one. Number two, I think we have to reject the Cold War mentality. We cannot live anymore where, you create the bipolar world, the contest between the two superpowers, and then leading people living in the period of uncertainties all the time. Third one is that we have to recast our principles of soft power. This is just near, for Americans professors that America used to employ these principles, the soft power principles. It's time for us to relook into this and to treat your friends around the world under the principle of soft power. And I would like also to add another point. This is a quite interesting point. This is actually coined by Kishore Mahbubani, a very respected diplomat from Singapore. When he said that he speak as a spokesperson of ASEAN, he said the next relations must be based on the 3M. What's 3M? The first M is must be multi-civilizational. Number two must be multipolar. Number three must be multilateral. Thank you.